I am a fan of school uniforms. A huge fan. Now, if you're a school who previously didn't have a uniform policy, but you're shifting to a uniform policy, it's a delicate transition. You got to do it the right way. You have to pay attention to the details, and that's what this school is learning here. Meeting at Westside High School could clear up confusion over uniform policy that's kept students from class. Parents are concerned over poor communication, lack of grace period with stricter uniform rules. Uh-oh. Now, when you upset the parents, when you got a bunch of parents coming at you, that's not good. It's not good. Check this out. A shift in the uniform policy at Westside High School this year, which parents say wasn't clearly communicated ahead of school starting Monday, has kept some students out of class and left parents frustrated. Uh-oh. A meeting at the school might clear some things up. The uniform policy is expected to be a main topic of conversation at that meeting, which is set for August 25th at 5:30 p.m. in the Media Center at the high school. It's sponsored by the School Advisory Council, which helps create the school's uniform policy according to the district guidelines. Westside High's strict enforcement of its adjusted uniform policy has meant that dozens of students have been pulled from classes in the first week of school for what parents say are minor violations like wearing pants with pockets or having a shirt in the right color but without the school's logo. Parents have voiced complaints about how the uniform violations have been handled, wondering why a grace period wasn't provided since the new uniform policy wasn't communicated until about a week before the start of school. Now, if that's true, that's just not how you do things. That's not how you do things. I wonder if the school previously did have a uniform in place, but they, in fact, were not strictly enforcing the uniform policy, and now they want to reverse that and do a better job of enforcing it, and that's really hard to do. That's really difficult to do, and so now you've got parents and students, they are upset because they were not expecting that. A representative of Duval County Public Schools agreed with those parents during a news conference at district headquarters on Wednesday, saying he encourages schools to offer a grace period for students to comply with uniform requirements. Now, it would seem to me that, offering a grace period, I think that's very reasonable. Like you must do something like give a grace period. Because people have different situations like that. That seems elementary to me. Timothy Simmons, the regional superintendent of high schools and alternative schools for DCPS, spoke for about 10 minutes on Wednesday discussing how a school's uniform policy is created, steps schools can take when a student's attire doesn't align with its policies, and addressing claims that certain staff members had been examining tags on students' clothes to ensure they were compliant. Now, I know because of my kids' school, they just went to the uniform, and they are sending parents to one store to buy the shirts that has the school's logo on it, and they are not offering the logo to parents who are who know how to sew, or who know someone who can sew or embroider the logo on a shirt. The school is not supporting that, and I think the reasoning is that if you get a different color shirt that's not the same shade as the color shirt that's being sold at the approved store, then now that just defeats the purpose of the uniform policy, because now we're not as one. We're not wearing a uniform because you have a different shade of black than that student's black shirt. So I think that's how we're looking at tags there. In regard to the actual vendor that is used to purchase a uniform, each school has a vendor that they usually work with, but they're also, most importantly, they're looking at the colors for the safety aspect of what the student is wearing. They're looking at the colors for the safety aspect. As for the safety aspect, that I don't understand. Are we talking gang affiliation there? I'm not sure. If you have any idea what they're talking about, please leave a comment. I don't know what they're saying there. The vendor question has arisen because a message posted on Tuesday evening by Westside High School Principal Vincent Foster laid out the uniform requirements, saying polo shirts must be in the school colors of gray, black, or red with the school logo. And I think, man, like this stuff, this should not be new to the parents. A week before school, this should not be new. Like the principal shouldn't be posting this a week before school. Button-up shirts and jackets with the school logo are also available for purchase, the message read. And a flyer posted by Westside High School directs parents to a specific company, RC Uniforms, to purchase the tops with the school logo. And here we see the communication, which I don't understand. I mean, if this was sent out, this should have been sent out before the end of the last school year. So there you go. You can wear black, red, or gray top. You got khakis, black shirts, and ladies, you have the skirt, and then we have pullover, no hoodies. Oh gosh, that's glorious right there. No hoodies allowed. I love that. And I know the kids, they hate that. So that means we're doing something right. No hoodies allowed. That's great. That's great. So yeah, here we have all the information. I don't understand why we have a problem. If this was given to parents prior to the end of the last school year and you're pumping it out during the summer, I don't see why we have a problem here. Parents have expressed concern over the requirements of the uniform policy at a public high school, saying some students have been pulled from class this week simply because their shirts are missing the school logo, even if the rest of the outfit meets the guidelines. You got to work with those parents. If you want to do the uniform, which is perfectly fine, you got to work with those parents. You don't know what their situation is, but you got to work with those parents. The school says the policy is mandatory with no opt-out option. Ray, whose daughter is a senior, said he's concerned that the policy wasn't communicated better, particularly if the school wasn't planning on a grace period for the start of the school year. I was in the office with a few other parents at the same time who were just as mixed up and crazy about the whole thing as I was. This is sounding like it's really legitimately on the school for poor communication. And you know what? You got to own that. And instead of giving a grace period of, okay, we're going to be enforcing this, this is what we need you to do. They gave a very obfuscated idea of what they were after. And then they're putting the kids into the cafeteria and into the auditorium and keeping them away from their learning. All right, so I have two thoughts here. I like that they're enforcing the policy. Teachers like that as well. But also parents like that first few days or so, we're getting to know you. There's not a ton of content being taught, so it's not that serious. But I understand your overall concern, especially if this was poorly communicated to you. But I do like the school. They mean what they say. You're coming out of class. You're out of uniform. We're going to get this handled. I love it. And the kids need to see that too. The kids need to be held accountable. They need to know what that feels like. They need to understand that they are in an environment in which they are going to be held accountable. Yes. Ray said, nope. It's not like they're doing teaching or anything in there for some reason. This uniform is so important to them that they are segregating the kids off into a side room. Segregating the kids off into a side room and just having them sit out the day. Well, you know what? The school, they did this to themselves. If they did not communicate, you deserve this. Now it's just, that's just, as a principal, as a school leader, that's not where you want to be, where you have a story like this in the news and a parent is using segregating the kids off into a side room and just having them sit out the day. That's ugly. You don't want that. That's not good. In this news conference, Simmons also addressed the claims that a large number of students were sent to the school's auditorium as a result of their uniform infractions. And he said, "We did house students into the auditorium to make parent contact and provide redirection for the uniform," he said. He also confirmed that about 100 students were brought in for uniform violations. And I like that, here he is right here. I like that he stood out in front of the media and said, this is what we did. And he owned it. Simmons indicated that students in the district are not required to wear school logos on their uniform shirts, but according to the district's general code of appearance policy, a school may implement a school uniform requirement through the shared decision-making process with input from the school advisory council. So schools set their own uniform policies based on the district's general appearance guidelines. The district also says, though, that to maximize instructional time, students will be given an opportunity to immediately correct dress infractions. Yeah, they don't want to miss school time over this. This is not, it's not that big of a deal. Let's get in uniform and let's get back to class. It seems part of the concern from parents this week at Westside High School is that rather than being allowed to correct dress code infractions or being given a grace period for the new school rules, students have been pulled from classes. One mother told the news her son spent 2 full days in the auditorium, and her daughter, an honor student, was also pulled from class just because her pants had pockets. You see, now this is getting uglier and uglier. So we got to do a better job here on the school's part. They sent her in the auditorium to sit there. I had to call up there and ask them why. I understand that if all the kids are out of uniform, yes, but it's the first week of school, said the mother. Some of these students haven't seen their teachers yet. It's ridiculous. How are they ever going to get an education if you're putting them in just one room and making them sit there for hours? Ray said he wonders why what the students Ray said he wonders why what the students are wearing seems to trump them getting an education. I understand the idea that if they all look the same, then nobody can be singled out for wearing clothes, but these clothes can be expensive for some families. And it just seems a little ridiculous that they lose out on their education for not having those clothes, said the parent. So this is the full message in its entirety, and I'm just going to share with you this part. So he apologized. That's great, but here's the why. In our ongoing effort to increase student accountability, yes. Promote integrity, yes. And maintain a safe. I think this has something to do with gang affiliation. That's what that sounds like. There's that word safe again. Maintain a safe, comfortable learning environment for all students. Westside High School will implement a mandatory school uniform policy for the 25-26 school year. So this is the this is the message that was sent to parents a week before a school year started. That's because what leads me to this conclusion is right here. We also cordially invite you to join the advisory council. Our next meeting will take place on Monday, August 25th at 5:30. So, I mean, there's no sugarcoating this. This school did not do this the right way. They didn't do it the right way. They should have said, hey, for the 26-27 school year, that's what this message should have said. 26-27 school year, we are going to implement a uniform policy, and it's going to be mandatory. And you can shop at this vendor, and for the month of I don't know, for the month of May, in 2026, you're going to get a discount. So yeah, this school was in the wrong. They messed up, and that meeting, they better, you know what? Before that meeting takes place, they better be doing some damage control. They better be smoothing some things over before this meeting, because that meeting is gonna get ugly if they don't start smoothing some things over, and perhaps even back off and say we're gonna go hard enforcement, maybe like next semester, January 26th, to give people time. That's what they should do. So we're gonna keep you updated. We're gonna keep an eye on that, and we'll see what happens. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next update.